really think you can stand up to the three of us?" Tyler laughed, his eyes gleaming with malice as he twirled the knife between his fingers. The crowd of students formed a tight circle around them, filming everything on their phones, no one daring to intervene. Alex stood alone, his glasses reflecting the midday sun, his posture deceptively relaxed. "Last chance to leave," he said quietly. Tyler's laughter turned into a growl. "I'll enjoy this." He rushed forward, the blade glinting in the sun. What happened next left everyone gasping in amazement. In one fluid motion, Alex moved like water, his hand catching Tyler's wrist halfway. There was a painful crunch, followed by a scream. The knife clattered to the ground, and then the real battle began. The most interesting part is coming. Stay with us to find out how it all ends. In the meantime, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't lose it. Alex McMess, a 15-year-old with tousled brown hair and square glasses that kept sliding down his nose, stood in front of the imposing facade of Lincoln High School. His shoulders were tense, and his fingers were fiddling nervously with the strap of his backpack, which was filled with new textbooks and notebooks. It was his first day at a new school after his family moved from Portland to Chicago because of his father's promotion. The school looked like a typical American institution, a 3-story brick building with wide windows and a neat lawn in front of the entrance. But to Alex, it seemed like a fortress full of unknown dangers. Inhale, exhale. He mentally repeated the mantra his father, a professional mixed martial arts trainer, had taught him. Fear is just a signal, Alex. It doesn't define you. What no one at Lincoln knew, and what Alex hoped to keep secret, was that behind his slight frame and soft features was a 3-time national junior jiu-jitsu champion. Since the age of 7, he had trained daily under his father, learning not only the techniques of wrestling, but also the philosophy of martial arts. True strength is not in the ability to inflict pain, but in the ability to protect and remain calm even in the face of danger, his father often told him. These words became his internal compass. At his previous school, Alex had been respected for his athletic achievements, but here he decided to start from scratch. No mention of medals or titles. He just wanted to be a normal teenager, focused on his studies and maybe find new friends who shared his interest in physics and astronomy. Walking through the main doors, Alex found himself in a bustling hallway filled with students hurrying to their classes. The air was charged with the energy of the first day of school laughter, loud conversations, the slamming of lockers. Alex pulled his schedule out of his pocket and began to look for his first class. Advanced Placement, room 206. As he made his way through the crowd, he felt curious glances at him. It was never easy being the new kid, especially in the middle of the semester. He hoped to simply blend in and not draw attention to himself. "Hey, watch where you're going, nerd!" A loud voice interrupted his thoughts, and Alex felt a hand suddenly push him in the shoulder, causing him to stumble and crash into a row of lockers. The sound of the collision attracted the attention of the surrounding students, who began to turn to look at the source of the noise. In front of him stood a tall, powerfully built guy with perfectly styled blonde hair and a cold smirk on his face. The school football team emblem glittered on his red sports jacket. Next to him stood 2 other guys, one muscular with a short crew cut of dark hair, the other thin and tall with a sly expression. "Sorry, I didn't see you," Alex replied quietly, trying to defuse the situation. His body automatically assumed a slightly defensive stance, but he quickly relaxed, not wanting to show off his skills. "Oh, he can talk," the blonde said mockingly, causing his friends to chuckle. "I'm Tyler Wilson, and this is my territory, new kid." He leaned closer, his voice quieter but threatening. "And my territory has rules. Number 1, stay out of my way." Alex felt his heart begin to beat faster, not from fear, but from the adrenaline that always came before a fight. He took a deep breath, controlling the impulse. "I'm just trying to find my class," he replied, adjusting his glasses. "I don't want any trouble." "Oh, but you're already in trouble." Tyler snatched the schedule out of Alex's hands. "Alex McMess, advanced math? Wow, we have a genius here." He crumpled the paper and threw it in his face. "Welcome to Lincoln, nerd. Your life here is going to be very interesting, I promise." Tyler snapped his fingers and the 3 boys moved down the hall, leaving Alex to pick up his schedule from the floor. A few students gave him sympathetic looks, but no one came forward to help. "Don't pay any attention to them," someone nearby suddenly said. Alex looked up to see a girl with dark hair pulled back into a messy ponytail and bright green eyes leaning over and picking up his schedule. "My name is Emily Parker. I can show you where room 206 is," she smiled, handing him the paper. Tyler and his friends think they own this school just because they won a few football games. Thank you. Alex straightened up, relieved to find a friendly face in a sea of strangers. I'm Alex. Today is my first day. I figured it out. Emily began walking down the hallway, gesturing for him to follow her. Where are you from? Portland, Alex said, walking beside her. My dad got promoted, so we moved here. Had to change schools mid-semester. Portland? Cool. I've always wanted to go there. She gave him a curious look. And what was your first impression of our school, not counting meeting the local Neanderthals? Alex couldn't help but smile. It's hard to say yet. I hope not everyone here is like that guy, Tyler. Oh no, Emily shook her head. Most of them are fine. It's just that Tyler Wilson, Derek Thompson, and Jake Harris are kind of the school's aristocracy. Tyler's the captain of the football team. His dad's a big donor to the school, so he gets away with a lot. They stopped in front of door number 206. Here we are, Emily said. Mr. Baker's a great teacher, but don't be late for his lessons. He doesn't like it. Thank you again, Alex said sincerely. You're welcome, Emily shrugged. Maybe I'll see you at lunch. I usually sit with my friends in the far corner of the dining room, near the windows. Of course, Alex nodded, feeling that his first day might not be so bad. When Emily left, Alex took a deep breath and walked into the classroom. The day went by faster than he expected. The teachers were generally friendly, if demanding, and the classmates were friendly enough, if curious about the new kid. Luckily, Tyler and his friends weren't in any of Alex's classes until lunch. Walking into the bustling cafeteria with a tray of burger and fries, Alex looked around for Emily. He spotted her in the far corner, just as she had said, along with two other girls and a guy with glasses who looked like a computer genius. He started to make his way to their table when he felt someone trip him. Alex, with his trained reflexes, could have easily kept his balance, but he chose not to. He let himself stumble, though he managed to keep the tray from falling to the floor. Oops, sorry, newbie. Didn't notice your short legs. Tyler laughed as he sat at a table with the football team and a few cheerleaders. Alex ignored his comment and continued on his way to Emily's table. I see you've met the royal family, Emily said as he sat down with them. This is Jason, Lisa, and Megan, she introduced her friends. Hey, Alex nodded to them. Yeah, Tyler and I already exchanged pleasantries this morning. Don't let them get to you, Jason said, adjusting his glasses. They do that to anyone outside their elite circle. Especially with the new ones, added Lisa, a curly blonde with a kind smile. They're like vultures. They can smell fresh meat. Thanks for the warning, Alex smiled weakly, starting to eat his lunch. But I'm used to dealing with difficulties. Oh, you don't understand, Megan, a dark-haired girl with a serious look, said quietly. Tyler and his friends aren't just school bullies. Last year, they drove one guy so hard his family had to move. Alex frowned. And the administration does nothing? The four friends exchanged glances. Principal Hammond is afraid of losing funding from Tyler's father, Emily explained. And Coach Reynolds is too fond of Tyler as the star of the football team. So I advise you to stay away from them, Jason concluded. Alex chewed his French fries thoughtfully. He never sought out conflict, but he didn't run from it either. As his father often said, sometimes the only way to stop bullying is to fight back. I will keep that in mind, he said at last. The rest of the lunch was more positive. Alex learned that Emily was president of the debate club and wrote for the school newspaper. Jason competed in programming competitions. Lisa played the cello in the school orchestra, and Megan was captain of the track team. Do you have any hobbies? Lisa asked, looking at him with interest. Alex hesitated for a moment. He could have told them about his jiu-jitsu titles, how he trained 4 hours a day, his meditation and competition preparation, but he decided to keep it a secret, at least for now. Nothing special, he shrugged. I sometimes read science fiction. I like astronomy. I do a little sports. What sport? Megan asked immediately. Various, Alex answered evasively. Running, push-ups, nothing serious. The bell interrupted their conversation, signaling the end of the lunch break. What's your next class? Emily asked, standing up. Alex looked at his schedule. Physical education with Coach Reynolds. The four friends exchanged meaningful glances. What? Alex asked. The football team just has PE right now, Jason said. Good luck, man. With a heavy feeling, Alex headed to the gym. The locker room was already filled with guys changing into their workout clothes. Alex chose a secluded corner and began to change, trying not to draw attention to his body, which, despite its apparent thinness, was actually strong and muscular from daily training. He was just putting on a sports t-shirt when he heard a familiar voice. "Look who's here!" Our new friend, botanist Alex. Tyler and his two friends surrounded him, grinning with wicked intent. "I just want to change and go to class," Alex said calmly, trying not to show his irritation. "Sure, sure," Tyler winked at Derek and Jake. "But first, a little introduction to our school's traditions." Before Alex could react, Jake grabbed his backpack and duffel bag, and Derek blocked his path. "Let me guess," Tyler said, rummaging through his things. "You probably have some notes from your mom telling you to have a good day? Or maybe a little teddy bear for courage?" Alex clenched his fists, feeling his pulse quicken. It was one thing to endure verbal abuse, but it was quite another to have someone go through his personal belongings. What was especially disturbing was that in the side pocket of his backpack was a photo from the last championship, where he stood on the podium with a gold medal. "Give me back my things," he said, his voice firmer than before. Tyler raised an eyebrow at the change in tone. "Or what? Run and complain to the teachers?" He pulled Alex's phone out of his backpack pocket. "Let's see what secrets our new friend is keeping." This was going too far. Alex took a step forward, but Derek blocked his way, pressing his broad palm into his chest. "Where are you going, botanist?" At that moment, the locker room door swung open, and a tall man in a tracksuit with a stopwatch around his neck walked in. Obviously, Coach Reynolds. "What's going on here?" His sharp voice made everyone freeze. "Wilson, Thompson, Harris, what are you doing with the new students' things?" Tyler quickly hid Alex's phone behind his back. "It's okay, Coach. We're just helping him get used to it." "I've been at this school for 20 years, Wilson, and I know exactly what your help looks like." Coach Reynolds stepped closer. "Give him his stuff and march him to the field. 10 laps around the stadium to warm up. Now!" Tyler threw the phone at Alex with a disgruntled look, and Jake reluctantly returned his backpack and bag. "This isn't over, new kid," Tyler whispered as he passed him. "We're just getting started." As the trio exited, Coach Reynolds turned to Alex. "Are you okay, son?" "Yeah, everything's fine," Alex replied, checking his things. Luckily, they didn't have time to find the photo. "I'm Mike Reynolds," the coach introduced himself. "Don't pay any attention to those three. Their egos are bigger than their brains." "Alex Mitmess." He shook the coach's hand. "Thanks for your help." "You're welcome." The coach looked at him appraisingly. "Do you play sports, Alex?" "A little," he answered evasively. Coach Reynolds didn't seem convinced. "Well, finish changing and get out on the field. We're playing basketball today." When Alex walked out onto the field, he saw that the class had been divided into two groups. Tyler, Derek, and Jake were running around the edge of the stadium, doing their punishment. But even from a distance, Alex could feel their angry glares. "Okay, now that we're all here," Coach Reynolds announced, "we'll split into teams. Brown and Martinez are the captains." Two guys stepped forward and began to choose players for their teams one by one. Alex, as expected, was one of the last to be chosen. No one knew his abilities, and everyone preferred to choose players they knew. The game began, and Alex deliberately played below his abilities, showing only occasional glimpses of the agility and coordination that jiu-jitsu required. He did not want to draw unnecessary attention to himself. After the lesson, when everyone had already changed and were heading for the exit, Alex felt someone grab him by the shoulder and roughly turn him around. "You think you're so smart, huh?" Tyler hissed, his face contorted with anger. "Hiding behind the coach's back?" "I don't want any trouble," Alex replied calmly, breaking free of his grip with an ease that momentarily surprised Tyler. "But trouble has already found you," Derek smirked, coming to stand next to Tyler. "After school, in the parking lot behind the East Wing. If you don't show up, we'll find you tomorrow. And trust me, it'll be a lot worse." "And don't you dare tell anyone," Jake added, pulling out his phone, "or the entire internet will know what a coward you really are." Alex looked at them, considering his options. He could easily take them out physically, but that would mean revealing his secret and possibly getting himself into more trouble. On the other hand, if he didn't fight back now, the stalking would never end. "Okay," he finally said. "After school in the parking lot." Tyler looked surprised by his agreement, but quickly returned his confident grin. "Great, newbie. Get ready for the most unforgettable experience of your life." As they left, Alex took a deep breath, trying to calm his thoughts. This wasn't how he'd planned on spending his first day at a new school, but it seemed he had no choice. If Tyler and his friends were looking for a fight, they were about to find out they'd picked the wrong victim. The last period was literature with Ms. Collins, a young teacher with short red hair and an energetic personality. Luckily, neither Tyler nor his friends were in this class, which gave Alex time to collect his thoughts. Today we're discussing the concept of the hero in literature, Ms. Collins announced. What makes a character a hero? His strength? His courage? Or perhaps his moral compass? Alex listened with interest, despite his anxiety about the upcoming meeting. The question was especially relevant to his situation. Mr. Mickmus, Miss Collins suddenly addressed him. As our new student, perhaps you would like to share your opinion? What do you think makes a hero a hero? Alex straightened up, somewhat surprised by the direct address. I think, he began hesitantly, but then his voice grew stronger. I think a true hero is someone who makes the right choice, even when it's hard. Someone who uses their power not to dominate others, but to protect those who can't protect themselves. Very well said, Miss Collins nodded approvingly. Indeed, many literary heroes face moral dilemmas where they have to choose between the easy way and the right way. Alex considered his own dilemma. The easy way out would be to use his skills to humiliate Tyler and his friends, to show his superiority. But was that the right decision? His father had always taught him that martial arts were a last resort, when all other options had been exhausted. After class, while packing his things, Alex noticed that Miss Collins was watching him with slight concern. Are you all right, Mr. Mitmus? She asked. You seem a little tense. It's all good, Alex replied, forcing a polite smile. Just the first day. A lot of new information. If you need someone to talk to, she said, my door is always open. Thank you. Alex nodded and left the classroom. Emily was waiting for him in the hallway, leaning against the wall near the door. So it's true, she asked without preamble. What's true? That you agreed to meet Tyler and his goons in the parking lot. She looked worried. Alex, this is a bad idea. They don't play fair. The three of them will gang up on you. How did you know? Alex asked in surprise. The whole school is talking about it. Emily shook her head. Rumors spread faster than a virus here. But you have to understand that this is a trap. They want to humiliate you in front of the whole school. I have to go, Alex said firmly. If I don't go today, they won't leave me alone tomorrow or the day after. Then I'll go with you, Emily said decisively. No, Alex said. It's my business. I don't want you to be in danger. How noble, she said dryly, but I'm not coming to fight. I'm coming as a witness. If something goes wrong, someone has to be prepared to tell the truth. Alex wanted to argue, but he realized she had a point. Besides, there was something comforting about having a friendly face nearby. Okay, he finally agreed, but keep your distance. I don't know what they're planning. Don't worry about me, Emily smiled weakly. I can be invisible when necessary. Together, they walked toward the east wing of the school. With each step, Alex felt his resolve grow stronger. He didn't want this confrontation, but if Tyler and his friends insisted, he was ready to defend himself. The parking lot behind the east wing was half empty at this time of day. Most of the students had already gone home, but a small crowd had gathered, forming a semicircle. Tyler, Derek, and Jake stood in the center, clearly enjoying the attention. There he is, someone shouted, noticing Alex approaching. The crowd parted, all eyes turned to him. Alex stopped a few meters away from the trio, his face calm, but inside he was tense, ready for any outcome. I honestly thought you'd chicken out, Tyler said, stepping forward. His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. But apparently you're even dumber than I thought. I'm not here to fight, Tyler, Alex replied calmly. I'm here to offer peace. We can just walk away and forget about all this. Derek and Jake's laughter echoed throughout the parking lot. You hear that, Tyler? The nerd is offering peace. Derek took a step forward, clenching and unclenching his fists. What a generous gesture. I'm afraid it's too late for peace, Tyler smirked. You see, you made a mistake by showing that you weren't afraid of me, and I can't stand that. Last chance, Alex said, his voice firmer. We'll disperse peacefully, and no one will get hurt. No one but you, Tyler suddenly lunged forward, swinging his arm to strike. Alex could have easily dodged it, but he decided to take the first blow to gauge his opponent's strength. Tyler's fist hit him in the shoulder, causing him to stagger slightly. Is that all? Alex asked, straightening up. The surprise on Tyler's face quickly turned to anger. He swung again, this time aiming for his face. Alex ducked his head slightly and the blow missed, causing Tyler to lose his balance. Get him! Tyler shouted, and Derek and Jake moved to surround Alex. What happened next left everyone in the room holding their breath. With a grace no one expected from the nerd, Alex moved between the three attackers, dodging blows as easily as if he were dancing. He wasn't attacking, just defending, using minimal movement to conserve energy. "What the mess?" Derek breathed out as his powerful punch met only air, and he found himself on the ground after a light push from Alex. "Wait," Tyler said suddenly, gesturing to his friends to stop. His eyes narrowed. "Who the mess are you?" Alex straightened up, his breathing even despite the physical activity. "I already told you, Alex Mickmas, new student." "No," Tyler shook his head. "A regular nerd doesn't move like that. You're someone else." At that moment, Jake, who had walked over to Alex's backpack, which had been thrown to the side, exclaimed triumphantly, "Found it! Look!" He held in his hand a photograph of Alex standing on the podium with a gold medal around his neck, surrounded by other athletes and GIs. National Jiu-Jitsu Championships, junior gold medalist, Alex Mickmas, Jake read from the caption on the photo. The crowd began to whisper. Alex sighed, realizing that his secret was out. "So you've been leading us on this whole time?" Tyler's face twisted in anger. "Pretending to be a weakling. But you're actually a champion." "I never said I was weak," Alex replied calmly. "I just didn't want to draw attention to my skills. I came here to learn, not to fight." "Well, now you're definitely going to fight," Tyler growled, the blade of a knife flashing in his hand. "Let's see how good your jiu-jitsu is against this." A collective gasp went through the crowd. The situation had suddenly gone from a school fight to something far more dangerous. "Put the knife away, Tyler," Alex's voice hardened. "You're crossing a line." "No, you crossed my line when you came to my school and thought you could humiliate me." Tyler began to circle him slowly, the knife pointed at Alex. "Now everyone will know what happens to those who think they're better than Tyler Wilson." "Tyler, stop!" Emily shouted from the crowd. "Are you crazy? This is a felony." "Shut up," Tyler snapped, not taking his eyes off Alex. "This is between me and the champion." Alex took a fighting stance, his body tensing. He could handle a knife, he was trained for situations like this, but the risk was far greater. "Last chance to retreat, Tyler," he warned. "Never," Tyler said, lunging forward, the knife aimed at Alex's stomach. Time seemed to slow down for Alex. He saw the trajectory of the knife, timing his movements with the precision of a clock. In one fluid motion, he dodged the attack, grabbed Tyler's wrist, and used his own momentum to send him falling, twisting the arm with the knife behind his back. There was a muffled cry of pain, and the knife fell from Tyler's hand and clattered to the pavement. Alex held it in a painful grip, his knee pinning it to the ground. Derek and Jake froze, unsure of what to do, seeing their leader down. "It's over, Tyler," Alex said, his voice calm despite the tension in the situation. "This isn't a movie or a game. A knife is a real threat to life. Do you realize you could have killed someone?" Tyler didn't answer, just groaned in pain. "Let him go," Derek demanded, taking a step forward. "Don't move," Alex warned. "I don't want to hurt either of you, but I will defend myself if I have to." At that moment, a loud whistle blew, and the crowd parted to let Coach Reynolds through. "What the mess is going on here?" he thundered, looking around the scene. His gaze fell on the knife lying on the pavement, and his face went pale. "Wilson, is this yours?" Alex slowly released Tyler, allowing him to rise. He was rubbing his wrist, his face contorted in a mixture of pain and humiliation. "It was self-defense, Coach," Emily said, stepping forward. "I have video." Tyler threatened Alex with a knife. Coach Reynolds shook his head, his face growing increasingly grim. "Everyone go home," he ordered. "The show's over. And the four of you," he pointed at Alex, Tyler, Derek, and Jake, "go to the principal's office, now." The crowd began to disperse reluctantly, many still casting glances at Alex, now with a mixture of respect and even fear. As they walked toward the main building, Tyler kept his distance from Alex, his earlier confidence completely gone. Derek and Jake followed him like lost puppies without their leader. "For the record," Coach Reynolds said quietly as he caught up with Alex, "what you did was impressive, but also darn dangerous. You could have gotten hurt." "I knew what I was doing," Alex replied. "My dad has been training me since I was 7. "Nevertheless," the coach shook his head, "next time, if you feel threatened, come to me or another teacher. Don't solve the problem on your own." "You're right," Alex agreed, "but it wasn't easy for me. I was trying to protect the other students too. People like Tyler can't be left unpunished, or they'll never stop." There's some truth to that, the coach admitted, opening the door to the administrative wing. But there's a difference between justice and revenge, and a fine line between protection and violence. A tall woman in a formal suit with a stern gaze and pursed lips was already waiting for them in Director Hammond's office. "Coach Reynolds, explain what happened," she demanded, her voice cold as ice. "Madam Principal, we had a situation in the parking lot," the coach began. "Apparently, Mr. Wilson threatened a new student, Mr. McMus, with a knife." "That's a lie," Tyler suddenly exclaimed. "I wasn't threatening anyone. It was just a school argument that got out of hand." "We have witnesses and video footage, Mr. Wilson," Principal Hammond said coldly. "Miss Parker has already provided me with evidence." Tyler turned pale, realizing the gravity of the situation. "It was a misunderstanding," he tried to justify himself. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Carrying a weapon in school is a serious offense, Mr. Wilson," the principal continued. "Not to mention threatening the life of another student. It is grounds for immediate expulsion and criminal prosecution." "You can't expel me!" Panic appeared on Tyler's face. "My father—" "Your father is already on his way," the director interrupted him. "And believe me, he is no less shocked by your behavior than I am." Alex watched in silence. He didn't want Tyler to be expelled, despite everything he had done. Expulsion would only make him more bitter and angry. "Madam Director," he finally said, "I don't think expulsion is the best solution." All eyes turned to him. "What do you propose, Mr. Mitmus?" the director asked, raising an eyebrow. "Tyler made a mistake, a big mistake." Alex looked directly at his recent opponent. "But we all make mistakes. Perhaps instead of expulsion, it would be better to use this incident as an opportunity to grow and change." "An interesting proposal from someone who was threatened with a knife," the director noted dryly. "My father always said that true strength is not in destroying an enemy, but in turning them into an ally." Alex continued. "Perhaps Tyler needs not only discipline, but also an understanding of the consequences of his actions," the director thought, tapping her fingers on the table. "Nafrin, what exactly are you proposing?" "A temporary suspension with community service at school," Alex said, "and maybe mandatory anger management classes, and—" He paused for a moment, collecting his thoughts. "I could teach him some martial arts principles, not fighting techniques, but a philosophy of self-control and respect." Tyler looked at Alex with disbelief and confusion. He clearly didn't understand why Alex was sticking up for him after everything that had happened. "This is an unusual proposition," Principal Hammond said, "but not without merit. Of course, given the seriousness of the offense, I must consult with the school board and law enforcement. Mr. Wilson, given what has happened, you are suspended effective immediately for 2 weeks, and your return is pending the outcome of the investigation and a psychologist's evaluation." Tyler nodded, his usual self-confidence completely gone. "And as for you, Mr. Thompson and Mr. Harris," the principal continued, turning to Derek and Jake, "you are receiving a week's suspension and a written warning. If this happens again, the consequences will be more severe." "Yes, ma'am," they both muttered, avoiding her gaze. "Mr. McMus?" The principal turned her gaze to Alex. "While I appreciate your ability to defend yourself, in the future I recommend that you contact school staff if conflicts arise." "I understand," Alex nodded. "It won't happen again." "Okay." Principal Hammond stood up. "Everyone is dismissed for today. Coach Reynolds, make sure they all get off school grounds safely." As they walked out of the office, Tyler suddenly stopped Alex, gesturing for the coach to give them a minute. "Why?" he asked, his voice quiet and uncertain. "Why did you stand up for me? After everything I've done?" Alex looked him straight in the eyes. "Because everyone deserves a second chance, and because true strength lies not in destroying your opponent, but in understanding him." Tyler stared at him for a long time, as if trying to solve a complex puzzle. I don't know what to say," he finally said. "You don't have to say anything," Alex replied. "Just think about what happened and decide what kind of person you want to be going forward." With these words, he turned around and walked towards the exit, where Emily was waiting for him. "It was incredible," she said as they stepped outside. "The way you moved, the way you handled the knife, and then the way you stood up for Tyler. Why?" Alex shrugged, smiling for the first time in a long day. "My father always said, win not with strength, but with wisdom. Not with hands, but with heart." And today I understood what he meant. They walked along the path towards the main gates of the school, the evening sun casting long shadows on the ground. "You know," Alex continued, "I was worried about moving, about the new school. about starting over. But now I think maybe this was a chance not only for Tyler to change, but for me too. How so? Emily asked curiously. At my old school, everyone knew me as the champion, Alex explained. That defined me. Here, I wanted to be someone else. Just a regular guy. But today I realize I can't run away from who I am. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Emily smiled, gently touching his hand. I think you're exactly who you're meant to be, Alex Mickmas, and I'm glad you came to our school. Alex felt a warmth spreading in his chest. Maybe this day hadn't been such a bad start after all. But while Alex and Emily were leaving the school grounds on the other side of town, Derek and Jake were plotting revenge that threatened to destroy the fragile truce that had just emerged. The next morning, Alex woke up to the sound of his mobile phone ringing loudly. Emily's name appeared on the screen. Alex? Her voice was tense and scared. Can you talk? Yes, what happened? He immediately felt that something was wrong. It's Derek and Jake, she said quickly. They waylaid me on my way to school. They told me to give you a message. Alex sat up straight in bed, fully awake, his heart pounding. What message? Did they do something to you? No, I'm fine, Emily hastened to reassure him. But they said Tyler got into a lot of trouble because of you. His dad was furious when he found out about it. They said you're going to get in trouble now, too. Emily, where are you now? Alex asked, already jumping out of bed and starting to get dressed. I'm at school, in the library. I came early. They didn't follow me all the way. They just passed on the message and left. Stay there. I'll be there soon, Alex said, quickly pulling on his jeans and t-shirt. Alex, Emily's voice wavered. Be careful. Something in their eyes. They weren't like usual, like something snapped. After he hung up, Alex paused for a moment, considering the situation. He knew that anger could make people do rash things. If Tyler's father had really reacted that strongly, who knew what state Derek and Jake were in right now? In the kitchen, he found a note from his father. In the morning, training with a client. Be back for lunch. There's an omelet in the fridge. Love you, Dad. Alex quickly ate his breakfast, grabbed his backpack, and ran out of the house. On the way to school, he tried calling Emily again, but she didn't answer. This made him speed up his walk to a run. When Alex got to school, it was still early, and most of the students hadn't arrived yet. He headed straight to the library, but it was empty. The librarian said Emily had been there, but had left a few minutes ago with two guys who said they were her friends. The anxiety inside Alex grew into full-blown panic. He quickly pulled out his phone and dialed Emily's number again. This time, a strange voice answered. Hey, champ, Derek said mockingly. Looking for your girlfriend? Where is Emily? Alex demanded, his voice cold as ice. Don't worry, she's fine. For now, Derek said. But if you want to keep it that way, you better come to the abandoned factory behind the stadium. Alone. Right now. If you lay a finger on her, Alex began, but was interrupted by laughter. What are you going to do, karate guy? Throw us across the room? That was Jake's voice now. We have something interesting for you. Let's just say it's a little lesson in consequences. The line went dead. Alex stood there, clutching the phone tightly, rage and fear warring within him. He knew it was reckless to go there alone, without telling anyone. But he also knew that if he went to the authorities, Emily could get hurt. He texted his father. Urgent matter, can't be at school today. We'll explain later. Then after thinking, he added, if I'm not back by 3, call the police and tell them I'm at the abandoned factory behind the school stadium. After sending the message, Alex headed towards the factory. It was an old abandoned red brick building that had once been a textile factory. It had been empty for several years, awaiting demolition. Alex knew about the place from conversations at school. Some students used it for after-school meetings, away from the eyes of teachers and parents. When he reached the factory, he paused for a moment to calm his breathing and focus. His father had taught him that fear and anger were poor advisors in combat. You had to keep your mind clear and your emotions in check. The main entrance was boarded up, but the side door was slightly open. Stepping inside, Alex found himself in a large, empty room with high ceilings. Sunlight filtered through the dirty windows under the roof, creating dusty beams in the semi-darkness. Emily, he called, his voice echoing through the empty space. She's here, champion, Derek's voice responded from somewhere above. Alex looked up and saw the metal balcony on the second floor. Derek and Jake were standing there, and Emily was standing between them, a scared look on her face. Her hands were tied in front of her, and Jake was holding her shoulder tightly. Let her go, Alex demanded, stepping forward. Your problem is with me, not her. Oh, we'll let her go, Derek said, after we teach you a lesson. You see, our friend is going through mess at home right now because of you. His father took everything from him. His phone, his car, even forbade him to leave his room. And it's all because of you and your posturing. I didn't mean for things to turn out this way, Alex said honestly. I offered the director a second chance for Tyler. Yeah, that was very noble, Jake said sarcastically. Making yourself look like a hero and Tyler look like an unbalanced psycho with a knife. You know what they say at school now? That you beat him to the punch. His reputation is ruined. Look, Alex tried to speak calmly despite his growing anger. I understand that you're upset, but this is not a solution. Let Emily go, and we'll talk like civilized people. Oh no, we have a better plan, Derek grinned. See, we can do something too. With these words, he pulled a gun out of his pocket. Not a toy, not an air gun. A real gun, black and deadly. Alex froze. All his training, all his jiu-jitsu skills couldn't prepare him for this. A knife was one thing, but a gun, that was a whole other level of threat. Are you crazy? He breathed. Where did you get a gun? Daddy's, Derek answered easily. Don't worry, I know how to handle him. We're not going to kill anyone. At least not as long as you do what we say. Stop it, Emily cried, trying to break free from Jake's grip. You don't know what you're doing. This isn't a school fight anymore. It's a crime. Shut up, Jake barked, yanking her shoulder. So what are we going to do? Alex asked calmly, feverishly considering his options. What do you want? First, and Derek said, you call Principal Hammond and tell him you lied. That Tyler didn't threaten you with a knife, that it was just a prank that got out of hand, that the video was edited. And then, Jake added, you're going to write a confession that you staged the whole thing to look like a hero. And we're going to post it online so the whole school can see what a pathetic liar you really are. Alex mentally estimated the distance to the stairs leading to the balcony. Even at his speed, Derek would have time to shoot before he reached them. And what do you imagine will happen next? Alex asked. After I do this, you'll just let Emily and me go, and that's it? No one will know you threatened us with a gun? We'll deal with this when the time comes, Derek replied, glancing nervously at his watch. In the meantime, do as you're told unless you want your girlfriend to get hurt. To prove his point, he pointed the gun at Emily, whose eyes widened in horror. Alex raised his hands, showing that he was not going to make any sudden movements. Okay, I'll do as you say. Just don't touch her. He slowly pulled out his phone, trying to maintain an outward calm even as emotions raged inside him. He was angry, not just at Derek and Jake, but at himself for letting things get this way. He should have known they wouldn't let things go. He should have protected Emily better. Don't do this, Alex, Emily said quietly, looking down at him. They're crazy. They won't stop. I said, shut up. Jake yanked her tied hands, causing her to cry out in pain. At that moment, something inside Alex snapped. The anger he had been trying so hard to contain burst forth, not as uncontrollable rage, but as a cold, focused determination. He remembered his father's words. A true warrior is not one who does not feel fear or anger. A true warrior is one who uses those emotions, channeling them like the blade of a sword. Okay, he said with unexpected calm. I'll make the call. But first, show me that the gun is real. I want to be sure I'm not doing this for a toy. Derek looked puzzled. Are you kidding me? No, Alex said firmly. I want to make sure I'm dealing with a real threat before I ruin my life. Prove it to him, Jake said impatiently. Make him make the darn call. Derek hesitated for a moment, then raised his gun and fired to the side at an empty barrel in the corner of the room. The loud shot echoed through the empty factory, causing Emily to cry out in fright. Happy? Derek asked, pointing the gun at Alex again. Alex nodded, wincing internally at the confirmation of his fears. It was a real gun, and these two were dangerous. But the shot gave him what he wanted, proof of their intentions, which would be heard on the phone call. And, more importantly, Derek's exact location during his brief distraction. Make the call, Jake ordered. Alex picked up the phone, pretending to dial the director's number. Instead, he secretly turned on the recording and spoke loudly enough to be heard. So ready for him. Derek Thompson and Jake Harris are holding Emily Parker and me in an abandoned factory behind the high school stadium. They have guns. They want me to lie about yesterday's incident with Tyler Wilson. This is the recording as evidence. What are you doing? Derek screamed, panic contorting his features. Stop it! Who are you telling this to? No one, Alex answered calmly, putting the phone in his pocket. This is just a recording. And if you don't let Emily go right now, I'm going to press the send button, and this recording will go to the police, my father, and the school principal." "You're bluffing," Jake said through gritted teeth, but uncertainty was already creeping across his face. "Test me," Alex said firmly. "I'm not kidding. Let Emily go, and we'll all just walk away from here. No one will know about the gun, and I won't press charges. This is your only chance to get out of this situation without serious consequences." Derek and Jake exchanged glances, panic beginning to set in. They clearly hadn't expected this turn of events. "He's bluffing," Derek said uncertainly. "He didn't send anything." "Are you sure?" Alex asked. "Are you willing to risk your future? Because if this tape gets out, you're both going to jail. Kidnapping, threats with a firearm, illegal possession of a weapon. The list is long." A tense silence hung in the air. Alex could see the two boys' resolve beginning to melt under the weight of the reality of the situation they found themselves in. Suddenly, Emily took advantage of the moment of doubt. She moved sharply, slamming her bound hands into Jake's stomach so hard that he doubled over, gasping for air. Then she lunged for the balcony railing. "Stop!" Derek shouted, turning towards her with the gun. Time seemed to slow down for Alex. He saw Derek's finger tighten on the trigger, saw the gun swing toward Emily. Instincts took over. He lunged forward with incredible speed, simultaneously grabbing a metal rod from the floor, a remnant of the factory's crumbling structure. With the precision and power that only years of training could give, Alex threw the rod like a spear. It hit Derek in the arm just as the shot rang out. The bullet went into the ceiling, showering everyone in dust and small debris. Derek dropped the gun, which clattered onto the metal floor of the balcony. Emily, without wasting a second, ran up and kicked it into the far corner, well out of reach of both boys. Alex was already on the stairs, flying up the steps so fast it seemed like he was barely touching them. When he reached the balcony, Derek was clutching his injured arm, and Jake was still stumbling from Emily's blow. "It's over," Alex said, stepping between them and Emily. "Put an end to this now before anyone gets seriously hurt." "You don't understand," Derek said through the pain. "Tyler was everything to us. He made us somebody. Without him, we're nothing." "That's not true," Alex said firmly. "You can be whoever you want to be. But this," he gestured around the situation, "is not the way. You're smarter than that, better than that." At that moment, the doors of the factory burst open and several figures rushed in. They were Alex's father, Coach Reynolds, and two police officers. "Alex," his father called, quickly assessing the situation. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, Dad," Alex said, not taking his eyes off Derek and Jake. "But we need help. Derek's hurt, and Emily's tied up." Over the next hour, a scene unfolded that Alex hoped he would never see again. The police arrested Derek and Jake. Paramedics treated Derek's wound and checked Emily for injuries. The gun was seized as evidence, and everyone involved gave statements. As it turns out, Alex's message to his father did not go unnoticed. Concerned by its contents, Michael Mitmess immediately called the school, where he learned from the librarian about Emily's strange departure with two boys. Connecting the dots, he contacted Coach Reynolds, who knew the location of the abandoned factory, and together they contacted the police. Later, sitting in Principal Hammond's office with his father and Emily's parents, Alex felt physically and emotionally drained. "What you experienced today is unforgivable," the principal said, her usually stern face softening with genuine concern. "I am so sorry that this happened in our school, to our students." "What will happen to Derek and Jake?" Alex asked. "This is no longer a school matter," the father replied. "This is a criminal offense. They will be charged with kidnapping, threatening with a weapon, and a number of other serious charges." "They were just confused," Alex said quietly. "They thought they were protecting their friend." "That's no excuse for what they did," Emily's mother said firmly, wrapping her arms tightly around her daughter's shoulders. "They could have killed you both." "I know," Alex nodded, "but it's still a shame that it turned out this way." After the meeting, as he and his father were heading out of school, they were stopped by Coach Reynolds. "Mitmess, I have to say," he began, placing a hand on Alex's shoulder. "What you did today, it wasn't just brave, it was smart. You kept a cool head in a situation where most adults would lose theirs." "I was just doing what I was taught," Alex replied, glancing at his father. "Your father must be proud of you," the coach said, "and I think the school is lucky to have such a student." "Thank you, Coach," Alex answered quietly. When they got into the car, his father was silent for a while, then turned to him. "You scared me to death today, you know that?" "I'm sorry, Dad." Alex looked down. "I should have called the police right away." but I was afraid for Emily. I understand your motives, Father nodded. But remember what I taught you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for help. I'll remember, Alex promised. And, his father added, his voice softening, I'm proud of you, not for putting yourself in danger, but for how you handled the situation. You used your skills not to harm, but to protect. And that makes you a true champion. These words warmed Alex's heart, despite all the worries of the day. The next few days at school were strange. The story of what had happened at the plant spread like wildfire, turning Alex from just a new interesting student into a true legend. Students looked at him with awe, teachers with respect and concern. Emily stayed close to him, their friendship deepening over their shared ordeal. They talked a lot about what had happened, helping each other process the emotions and fear. On Friday, when Alex opened his locker, a note fell out. Meet me at the park at 4. I need to talk to you. Tyler. Alex was surprised. As far as he knew, Tyler was still suspended from school and was effectively under house arrest. How could he be in the park? After school, Alex, a little hesitantly, went to the park. He told Emily where he was going and asked her to inform his father if he was not back for dinner. Lesson learned. Never again would he act alone without informing anyone. In the park, Tyler was sitting on a bench near a small pond. He didn't look like Alex remembered. His perfectly coiffed hair was a mess, his shoulders were slumped, and his eyes were fixed on the ground. He looked up when he heard footsteps approaching, and Alex saw something new in his eyes' vulnerability. You came, Tyler said, his voice slightly surprised. Yes, Alex replied, sitting down on the bench next to him, keeping his distance. How did you end up here? I thought you were under house arrest. My father gave me permission to go out for an hour. Tyler smiled weakly. He said I needed to look the man I almost injured in the eye and apologize in person. I was lucky the charges were dropped thanks to your intercession. They sat in silence for a few minutes, watching the ducks swim around the pond. I heard what happened with Derek and Jake, Tyler finally said. It's terrible. I never thought they'd go this far. They thought they were protecting you, Alex replied. No, Tyler shook his head. They thought they were protecting their own reputation. Without me, they were nothing, and they knew it. So are you, Alex said calmly, meeting Tyler's gaze. He sighed. Yes, like me. I always thought that being on top was everything. Having power, having everyone fear you, respect you, follow you. But now I see that it was empty. I wasn't happy. I was just empty. It's never too late to change, Alex said. You think so? Tyler raised an eyebrow. After everything I did? After my friends almost killed your friend because of me? It's not your fault, Alex said firmly. You didn't ask them to do this. You didn't tell them to pick up a gun and threaten anyone. No, but I created an environment where it felt right, Tyler countered. I was the one who taught them that strength was all that mattered. Alex thought for a moment. You know, my father always said that the hardest thing in any art is not learning how to fight, but learning when not to fight. Maybe the hardest thing for you now is learning how to be strong in a new way. Strong not through fear and power, but through understanding and respect. Tyler looked at him for a long time, as if seeing him for the first time. You're weird, you know that, he finally said with a hint of his old grin. Most people would hate me if they were you. Hate only breeds more hate, Alex replied. Besides, I had a good training. Yeah, I saw that, Tyler rubbed his wrist, remembering Alex disarming him. Look, I know my word isn't worth much right now, but I want to apologize. For the knife, for everything. I'm really sorry. I believe you, Alex said simply. They sat in silence again, but now it was comfortable, as if the first layer of ice between them had begun to melt. So what now, Tyler asked. What happens next? Well, as far as I understand, you'll be back in school in a week, then community service. And, Alex smiled, you'll get a chance to learn anger management from a 3-time national jiu-jitsu champion. Sounds like a plan, Tyler extended his hand. Thanks, Alex, for everything. Alex shook the outstretched hand, sensing that this moment meant much more than just a truce between two former adversaries. This was a moment of transformation, a moment when they both decided to become more than just a bully and a nerd, more than just a winner and a loser. That Saturday night, as planned, Alex went to a park outside the city to watch the meteor shower with Emily and her friends. They spread a blanket on the grass and lay there, looking up at the star-studded night sky. As the first meteorite cut a bright streak across the black canvas of the sky, Emily took Alex's hand. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? He asked, turning his head to see her profile in the moonlight. For saving me, Emily said. For being brave when I was scared. For not becoming like them, even when you could. I was scared too, Alex admitted. Sometimes being brave is just doing what you have to do, even when you're scared. And you did it. Emily squeezed his hand tighter. You're a real hero, Alex Mickmas. But not because you're a jiu-jitsu champion. Because you're a good person. Alex felt a warmth spreading in his chest. He looked at the sky, where meteorites continued to fall like a star shower, creating an unforgettable spectacle. At that moment, he realized that all the trials he had gone through over the past 2 days, all the fears and difficulties, had led him exactly to where he was supposed to be. He was no longer just a newcomer, just a champion, just a guy with glasses who wanted to go unnoticed. He was Alex Mickmas, a man who had found his place, his power, and his heart. And above them, in the endless ocean of stars, the cosmic dance of light continued, reminding us that in this vast world, there is a place for everyone, for hooligans and nerds, for champions and newbies, for everyone who is looking for their way among the stars. And Alex knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he was ready to face them with an open heart and an unwavering spirit. Because a true champion is not one who never falls, but one who always finds the strength to rise and move on. And he would carry this truth with him throughout his life.